ग्रेड तक। फिर मैं बोर्डिंग स्कूल चला गया था। द मेन रीज़न वाई आई वेंट टू बोर्डिंग स्कूल इज़ मेरा घर थोड़ा सा स्कूल से दूर पड़ता था, राइट। कम्यूटिंग फ्रॉम माई प्लेस टू एनी गुड पब्लिक स्कूल इन दिल्ली वॉज टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, ऑलमोस्ट 1 hour वन वे। अब आजकल तो वो 2-2.5 घंटे के अराउंड पहुंच गया है। तो दैट वाज माय बिगेस्ट कंटेंशन। ऊपर से आई पर्सनली फेल्ट कि मेरे को यहाँ पे वो इंटरेक्शन नहीं मिलता था उन लाइक माइंडेड पीपल से जो मेरी तरह ही एक हायर ड्रीम को चेस कर रहे थे। इसलिए आई प्लान्ड आउट that I wanted to go somewhere where I'll find people according to me. I found that in a boarding school, but then I decided to come back to New Delhi to enroll myself in DPS RK Puram because RK Puram had the best track record of almost past few years. They had the highest number of students who went outside the country to study, so that's what I was looking for, and इसलिए मैं वापस आया यहाँ पे। So मैं STEM में था, जस्ट लाइक बेसिकली मैंने PCM ली 11th and 12th में, और हर बच्चे की तरह मैंने JEE की तैयारी थोड़ा सा स्टार्ट किया, राइट। एंड आई रिमेंबर द फर्स्ट टाइम आई वेंट फॉर JEE कोचिंग। वो ट्रायल क्लासेस देते हैं, राइट। तो पहली ट्रायल क्लासेस जो मैंने कभी ली थी वो एक मैथ की क्लास थी। इट वॉज 3 hour लॉन्ग और इट वॉज ऑल अबाउट ट्रिग्नोमेट्री and it was one of the most reputed JEE classes over here. I would not take the name, but the way they taught the class was absolutely horrendous. क्योंकि I remember आज भी एक प्रोफेसर आए, सर आए, उन्होंने 26 फॉर्मूले ब्लैक बोर्ड पे लिख दिए एंड दे वर लाइक स्टार्ट सॉल्विंग द क्वेश्चंस। ना कोई एक्सप्लेनेशन दी, ना कोई बताया कि व्हाई आर वी यूजिंग दीज फॉर्मूलाज, क्यों यूज़ कर रहे हैं, क्या पॉइंट है, कुछ नहीं दिया। एंड दे स्टार्टेड वर्किंग आउट एंड आई रियलाइज्ड कि अगले 2 साल मुझे ऐसे ही एक एनवायरनमेंट में रहना पड़ेगा, ऐसे ही एनवायरनमेंट में सीखना पड़ेगा, विच वॉज समथिंग दैट आई वॉज नॉट हैप्पी विथ। आई वॉज नॉट रेडी टू एक्सेप्ट दैट, क्योंकि आई हैव ऑलवेज बिन अ वेरी प्रैक्टिकल लर्नर. आई लाइक टू learn things by working on them and knowing as to why I'm learning them. And I realized कि ये kind of education system इंडिया में अभी present नहीं है, maybe अब आ रहा है, but I realized कि US was my best place to go, or going abroad was my best option, and that's when I started preparing for all these standardized tests and every single thing. If I particularly was keen on United States, but I was looking at other places as well. But for United States, the first step is standardized tests. So SAT, Scholastic Aptitude Test, or ACT, which is similar in nature. I appeared for that in 11th. I appeared for that in 12th, quite a few times. After that, once you're done with the standardized test and you have a score that you find good enough for yourself, I went over and started preparing for English as a foreign language test. So you have main 2 brands, you have IELTS and you have TOEFL. I opted for TOEFL because I personally felt more comfortable in a computer-based testing environment. Once you're done with that and once you have a score, the next part is the admissions. So you start applying to universities, right? In US, the main thing that you work with is Common App. I don't know if that's what the people use still, but that's what I used back then. And at the end of the day, there's the visa application. So I started with, so this is kind of the layout of things you do in the similar order. So the process actually, अगर आप comprehensively देखें तो 2 साल. You start for the standardized tests, you work with it, and you begin in 11th somewhere and you end like once you graduate, right? But if you look at the heated moment, the moment where you actually work the most, it unfortunately coincides with the later part of your 12th grade. So after midterms, 12th, you start getting your predicted scores, you start applying to these universities, you start appearing for, English as a foreign language tests, you start getting your application results back while you're in board class examinations. And once that is done and said, right, you usually apply for your visa during summer vacations, so June, May, etc. And you fly out of India by the time fall semester rolls in, that's in August. So if you look at it, that 1 year is the most heated part of the entire process, but in a comprehensive view, you essentially spend 2.5 years starting with grade 11 trying to build up your co-curriculars and your grades and everything. So that's what I would believe the timeline is. मैंने यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ एरिज़ोना चूज़ किया था, और द रीज़न बीन कि बिकॉज आई वॉज लुकिंग एट यूनिवर्सिटीज़ US में भी, कनाडा में भी, बाकी अदर इंटरनेशनल कंट्रीज़ में भी. US की universities which I primarily like is they are highly funded for research, right? And I enrolled in university looking for research opportunities, right? University of Arizona has recently become a huge hub for astronomy and similar research. NASA से बहुत funding आने लगी है, and that was I was aiming for. Moreover, back then when I enrolled, University of Arizona and similar public universities were giving extremely well scholarship offers. So I currently have a global wildcat award, right? And that basically pays off my 98% of my scholarship, like my tuition. So that's why I chose University of Arizona, and I'm currently seeking a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science and Mathematics as a double major. As I said, US के अंदर best thing is the universities are highly funded, especially for research, and especially if you want to be at the top of your game, US is the best place to go. सारी बड़ी companies वहाँ पे हैं, and yes, PR opportunities थोड़ी सी difficult होती है US में, but if you look at it through a point of view of, if you want to capitalize on the capitalistic economic system you have, US is the best place to work because you get the best head start over others. You have the best companies there, you get the best guidance and best mentors, and at the end of the day, once you've found exposure in US, you essentially have been exposed to the entire globalized world that we have today. So that is why I went for US. ऑनेस्टली जितना लोगों को डॉन्टिंग लगता है, जितना स्केरी लगता है, उतना होता नहीं है. इफ़ यू आर वेल वर्स्ड इन इंग्लिश, अगर आपको इंग्लिश में कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, यू विल एक्चुअली फाइंड पीपल आर वेरी वेरी स्वीट एंड वेरी नाइस टू यू. आई डिड हैव अ फ्यू encounter of racism, but very slight, and at the other hand the authorities are extremely helpful, right? You have the police and you have everyone working with you. If you are there legally and if you have all of your legal documents sorted out, they'll be very welcoming, they'll be very helpful to you. Apart from when I was immigrating within the university, I have found my place. There are multiple resources for minorities such as I am. There are multiple resources for Asian minorities and Indian diaspora that's out there. So it's been a great journey. The people are extremely welcoming. They're happy to have you there, and they're happy to have you contribute to their education system while contributing ultimately to their economy. अब मैंने ज़्यादा मूवीज़ देखी तो नहीं है उस बारे में, बट US has everything. Every university in US has everything for everyone, right? अब वो डिपेंड करता है आपको ज़िंदगी कैसी जीनी है. If you want to live a life where you are academically defined, if you're pursuing academics and you're pursuing your goals, there is a crowd for you. If you want to live a life जहाँ पर आपको parties करनी है, आपको रात भर बाहर रहना है, या जो भी आपका ideal है, there's a crowd for you. Basically जैसा आपको चाहिए वहाँ लोग मिलेंगे, right? They're very open, they're very accepting, right? But then the point is, when you reach there, what I would suggest is know what you are here for, know what you want to do, and then go find out people with similar interests, because that's gonna make your life extremely good. Because I remember कि आप अभी मूवीज़ तो नहीं, आजकल जो मेन सोर्स ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन वो इंटरनेट हो गया, राइट? पीपल जो US या फिर बाहर जाते हैं पढ़ने, दे मेक Instagram reels and what not, and they show a life of glamour, they show a life of fun and joy. It's not all glamorous, right? Sometimes you have low moments, you'll feel lonely, you'll feel by yourself, and that is why what I always recommend, go find people who will be there with you, not only in your highs but also in your lows, right? I mean, ये American dream as a whole started with basically जो अगर history देखो American dream की, it was all about getting rich, getting wealthy. When America was first founded, when it was colonized, it was a resource-rich land, and that's what American dream was. You go there, you hustle, you get successful. I don't know where this sad perception of having a party life or having a nightlife comes from, but it's not gonna be like that for you until unless you're 21. Most of the states do not allow you entry in clubs or let you consume alcohol. तो अगर आप उसके लिए जा रहे हो तो थोड़ा disappoint हो जाओ fairly, but you can pursue that life. You can definitely pursue that life. I don't know where that will lead you. Some people can manage that life with their academics. I personally prefer to keep that life away from me because I have a lot on my plate, right? I'm working, I am studying and everything. So it's up to you. If you want to live a life of fun for 4 years and then, kind of gamble away with your future, go for it. If you think you can manage it with your academics, go for it. If you think you can't, like me, then just stick to the, life you're trying to pursue. But yeah, it's fairly disappointing if you're not 21. काफ़ी दिक्कतें आएंगी आपको. Authorities, they don't really allow you. You can do it without like illegally, but I wouldn't suggest that, because if you're caught, it's pretty bad. It gets on your record and you don't want that. So something I love about US is a melting pot. You know, you have people from not only from all the parts of the country or India, you have people from all over the world, right? I have friends who are from Japan, who are from China, Turkey, Germany, you name it. And as such, क्योंकि इतनी diverse लोग हैं वहाँ पे, US is extremely accommodating, right? हाँ, you listen about US being racist and there are some cases of racism, but honestly, from other nations that I've visited, US has a huge diverse population. You will feel at home soon. Culture shock, thoda sa to bilkul you'll find some culture shocks, right? It's not more about culture, it's about the way the country functions. Like when I arrived there, the biggest point of difference that I had was working with, metric system. So there was Fahrenheit, there was mile per hour, it little threw me off a little, but at the end of the day, बहुत जल्दी यूज टू हो जाते हो इन चीज़ों के अंदर आप. अदर देन दैट, इट्स अ ब्यूटिफुल प्लेस, राइट? कि हाँ, इंडिया जैसा तो नहीं है, बट यू एक्सपीरियंस न्यू थिंग्स, यू एक्सपीरियंस न्यू cuisine, you experience new people, who will let you know how world is extremely huge and it's extremely diverse, and you can't even imagine what kind of experiences you'll have there. And that's what makes US so much exciting. And talking about the Indian community over there, we have a huge Indian community, especially in my university and in most of the universities out there. Indian students make up a huge amount of university students out there. So you definitely have, student associations that pertain to Indians. I currently work with one such association called APASA. It's a university funded association. It's for Asian Pacific American Student Affairs, so it's only for students who are coming from Asia, and it caters to their needs. So there are resources set up for you. There's a huge community going on. They're ready to help you out. Something I do find within the Indian community that I find that Indian students are not doing right is they're kind of shy in the beginning. They do not go and mingle around with other people. लोगों से मिलते नहीं हैं, बाहर के लोगों से. And as such क्या होता है कि शुरुआत में ना उनका सर्कल काफ़ी छोटा हो जाता है. तो एक डेंस सर्कल हाँ आपको इन्जॉय करने के लिए मिलता है, बट एट द सेम टाइम यू डोंट रियली हैव अ लॉट ऑफ फ्रेंड्स आउटसाइड द कम्युनिटी. तो मेरे स्टार्टिंग का एफर्ट्स ये थे कि अगर मैं इंडियन लोगों से बिल्कुल उनके साथ रहूँ. आई लिव विद 3 अदर इंडियंस राइट नाउ, right? So they make me feel at home, but at the same time I work with people that are non-Indians, and this is just because so I have a exposure to every single ethnicity, exposure to diverse cultures out there. That really helps you when you try and look for professional opportunities. So yes. See, simple सी बात है, अगर आप comfort देखना चाह रहे हो तो US मत ही जाओ यार. If you really want to be, you want to experience comfort, stay in India. What's better? Like आप घर पे रहेंगे, you'll have, housekeepers and house servants at your feet, working, doing whatever you want, right? If you really want to, go to US, then be ready to get out of your comfort zone, because that's where you'll really progress, right? So actively seek discomfort. Like I'm not saying seek discomfort in a bad sense, but seek to, put yourself in places or put yourself in opportunities where you'll not be, with people you are familiar with, number one. And slowly and steadily you'll start building a rapport with people that are non-Indians, right? I'll be very honest, like I do interact with a huge amount of Indian people, but apart from the roommates that I live with or flatmates that I live with, most of my interactions during the day are with non-Indians. And what I did to get out of my comfort zone was I looked actively for, part-time jobs on campus that were essentially people focused. So even though I'm a STEM major, I currently am pursuing computer science and math, I take up jobs that involve more interaction with human population, more interaction with students, right? So I work with APASA and I meet almost people from number of nationalities from Asia. I work with, I worked as an academic tutor, so I was constantly interacting with people that were non-Indians. So look for opportunities that will put you outside the sphere of influence of Indians, and you'll definitely have interactions with other people. And I would say the earlier you start, the better it's going to be. So about US, I don't know about other universities, but my university used something called Handshake. It's a job site that is specifically targeted to college students. You have fresh graduates also finding up jobs, but it's targeted to college students. So under the F1 visa, there's a clause in my visa that says that I cannot work off campus. That's illegal, and I am limited at 20 hours of work during the semester. During winter or summer breaks, I'm limited to 35 hours of work per week. So my advice to students who are starting, who have already gotten the admission, who have gotten their visa done, start looking for jobs online, right? Handshake is where you'll find most of the university jobs being posted. Start looking for them before you fly out. It can get a little hectic to find a job once you land there. You have so much things on your plate. You're trying to set up, you're trying to start a new life from scratch in a country you've never been to, or you have very little exposure to. तो घर पे हो जब तक शुरू करो, start building a resume. Universities have lots of student career and engagement centers that help you build your resume and your CV up. Take those resources into account, use those resources, build a resume, and if you can land a job, because before I flew out in 2021. I was supposed to go in 2020, but due to COVID I couldn't. So I flew out in 2021 and I got a job before I flew out. So it was extremely helpful because when I landed there, I had a place to live, I had a stable source of income coming in. So, I was kind of self-sufficient. I was not completely financially independent, but I was kind of self-sufficient, so that helps. And I didn't really have to fret about, like my flatmates did in the first semester. Hey, they were looking for jobs and it was pretty difficult. It was getting difficult. So look for a job before you leave the country. Most of the universities do it online. Some don't. You will have to accommodate that, honestly. नहीं 21 में मैं फ्लाई आउट कर गया था. वहाँ जाके कोविड रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हमने पहले 2 सेमेस्टर्स फॉलो करे, तो 1 साल तक प्रॉपर. लास्ट सेमेस्टर शायद से स्प्रिंग में भी किया, फिर कोविड रेस्ट्रिक्शंस हट गए थे तो कोई इशू आया नहीं था. 21 में मेरा थोड़ा सा वीज़ा के टाइम पे थोड़ा स्ट्रेसफुल था, क्योंकि क्या हुआ, वीज़ा एकदम से इन्होंने खोले ना और सारे के सारे चढ़ के पड़े हैं वीज़ाज़ पे, तो स्लॉट्स मिलना बड़ा मुश्किल था. वेटिंग टाइम था बेसिकली वीज़ा के लिए स्लॉट बुक करो तो वेटिंग टाइम तो बहुत कम था. फिर एक बार स्लॉट बुक करना बड़ा मुश्किल था, तो वो ऑनलाइन आते थे. मैंने काफ़ी टेलीग्राम्स ज्वाइन किए ग्रुप, वो रात के 2:30 बजे ऑनलाइन कोई फ़ोन कर रहे, भाई वीज़ा के स्लॉट निकल गए, पहुंच जा. तो वहाँ पे सारे के सारे पहुँचे. मेरे काफ़ी जो मेरे काउंसलर थे उनका आई वर्क एज एन इंटर्न फॉर देम लेटर ऑन, कि मैंने कहा कि यार अभी तो कोविड है, कुछ काम है नहीं मेरे पास, थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस ही गेन कर लो. तो उनके बच्चों के लिए भी मैंने कभी रात को 2:30 बजे उठ के फ़ोन आया कि अरे यार स्लॉट्स आ गए, देख लो. बट एट द एंड मेरे तो फिर भी चलो जुलाई के अंदर वीज़ा आ गया था. आई फ्लू आउट इन अगस्त 12 को और 24 को सितंबर सेमेस्टर स्टार्ट हो रहा था. मैं लोगों को जानता हूँ पर्सनली जिनका स्लॉट 12-13 को आया है, जिनका वीज़ा हाथ 2 दिन 4 दिन में आ गया है, तो कैसे ही उड़े हैं, पर वो उड़ के आ गए थे. फिर मोस्ट ऑफ द पीपल डिड मेक इट. और रही बात दोस्तों की मजाक बनाने के लिए, मेरे जितने भी, मैंने जैसे बोला मैं DPSR के पुरम में पढ़ाई करी मैंने, तो 10th से 12th तक वो स्कूल ही आई थिंक 1000 बच्चे होते हैं एक बैच में, काफ़ी बहुत सारे बच्चे रखते हैं वो, 26 सेक्शन रहते हैं उनके, 1000 बच्चे थे. आई थिंक सो हमने 400 तो बाहर ही भेजे हैं, सब बच्चे बाहर ही गए. तो कोई भी कंट्री हो, लोग ऑस्ट्रेलिया जा रहे हैं, आई फ्रेंड्स ऑस्ट्रेलिया गए हैं, UK गए हैं, कनाडा गए हैं, सो कोई फ्रांस भी गया है, नेदरलैंड्स गया है, सब बैठ के ऑनलाइन पढ़ रहे थे मेरे साथ. वो सब कोई मजाक बनाने वाले, अच्छा तू कौन है बोलने वाले, तेरा बुरा खुद हाल है भाई. क्योंकि US का फिर भी एक बारी इतना बुरा हाल नहीं था. जो यूरोप में तो उनकी तो बैंड बज गई थी, बुरा हाल. उनका तो कुछ सर्टेन ही नहीं था कि वीज़ा आएगा नहीं आएगा. और मेरे जितने भी दोस्त थे सब US या फिर कनाडा ही गए, तो सब रात को हम बैठ के क्लासेस ख़त्म करते थे 2:30 तक, वही सिमिलर एक टाइम जोन होता था, तो 4 बजे तक फिर बैठ के हम गप्पे साथ में ही मार रहे हैं कि वही उनकी हमारी मंडली बनी पड़ी थी कि यार स्लॉट्स कब आएंगे, ये कब आएगा. उन्हीं के साथ किया काफ़ी हमने. जो मजाक बना रहे तो भाई तू भी तो सेम बोट में है, तू कौन है बोलने वाला. तू अपनी तो देख, सारी एक ही जैसे. बहुत बुरा हाल था. हाँ वो थोड़ा लगता है क्योंकि फ्रेश पे नहीं हो रहा है ना, उस समय आप थोड़ी मज़े कर सकते हो, एक्सपीरियंस कर सकते हो. क्योंकि मैं जब तक वहाँ पहुँचा मेरा सॉफ्टमोर स्टार्ट हो गया और मैंने तो ली भी डबल डिग्री थी, मेरा तो बुरा ही हाल था. तो जब मैं वहाँ पहुँचा चीज़ें बड़ी हेक्टिक हो जाती है. मैं जॉब भी लेके गया था, घर भी मैंने सब हो गया था, रूममेट्स भी सब मैं अपने चूज़ करके ले गया था, कोई दिक्कत ही नहीं आई. पर सेमेस्टर में एकदम पढ़ाई इतनी ज़्यादा आती है एकदम से ना, कि वो घूमना ज़्यादा हुआ नहीं.